Okay. Off we go then.
It's still and we're recording. Hello, everybody. I would just like to welcome our very own Dana, who is here for our very first member spotlight interview, discussion, chat, talk, whatever you want to call it. For me, the point of these is to allow us all to get to know our members better. And I know Dana a little or a lot. I don't know. What would you say, Dana? Because we've known each other for a long time.
I think we know ourselves in our souls really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, how long? I think it was about 2009 that we first met.
I think so.
So that's, I can't do maths. 19, 21,
14
years.
That's a lot.
Oh my God. And we met on, it would have been YouTube probably, I think, back then.
I don't know. I think it might have been Facebook.
I don't think I had Facebook back
Were they alive yet? I don't know where I met you. Twitter?
I think it was
it was some social media, put it that way.
It was in comments on YouTube videos, on Abe videos, I reckon.
Well, look at your
And then I probably would have stalked you back and found your NineTomatoes. And then I became a customer. And
early.
And that was it. I remember what it was. Completely blew my mind because you'd had on your website, would you like to receive NineTomatoes in your mailbox? Leave your address here. And I thought, she means my email address box, but she obviously just wants to get their addresses for her mailing list or something. I thought, I'll just put it in, expecting to receive something in my email. Didn't receive anything and thought, oh well, that's the end of that. And then I actually did receive a physical card in my physical mailbox, all the way from you in America, with a mandala card, and I was blown away.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
Do you remember sending out cards to customers in there?
Well, now that you've given me that little crumb, yeah, I think I do. Yeah. Early days. Wow. Yeah, you were an early adopter. My goodness. So funny.
And I was, completely blown away and completely in love ever since. And yes.
And did we meet? Did you find me from Lee?
No.
Lee? Oh, well, that's
no,
good.
I knew a long time. We knew each other for years before I knew that you had anything to do with Lee.
Gotcha.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Lee Harris is a channel, would you say? He's a channel. He does spiritual development work with people.
Yeah, he's a channeler, intuitive healer. He's very good, very big heart.
Yeah.
Lovely person.
And also I think it's interestingly, Stacey Ann, who is in our group, I met her in Lee Harris's membership. I was in his membership for a while.
Yeah. That's nice.
Small world, isn't it?
It is.
It is a small world. Yeah, and I remember seeing him with one of your mandalas on his T-shirt, and I was like, oh my God, Dana knows Lee. It was like, so yeah, I knew you before. I knew you.
Yeah, we did a bunch of work together early on because he helped me, and it leads into maybe some of your questions about how this started. When it started, I got in touch with him for some guidance. That's how we got together.
So when you say when it started, tell me what you mean. Just so everyone knows, I already gave Dana the list of questions that I would be asking, which all of you submitted because it's things you wanted to know. So we're going to have a general conversation, and then at the end we'll go back to check we've covered all the questions, and if we haven't, we will answer them. But yeah, when it started, because we all know you as Dana, the mandala lady, who makes the beautiful cards that we work with every week, and who I work with my clients with every week, which they just adore. You know how much I adore them. I'm sure everybody thinks that I'm your affiliate because I talk about them so much.
Probably.
I just love them. I'm not her affiliate. I just love her and her cards, and they're beautiful. So yeah, tell us about it and when it started and what that it is for you.
Well, all the practical things that lined up over my lifetime to put me in the position of being at my kitchen table completely alone without any electricity or internet connection and a pen and paper in my hand. That's the shortest way I can tell it. So, a year before it happened, I was coloring with my 8-year-old. I was already drawing. I was like a hobbyist artist, teaching myself and getting together with other friends who were artists and drawing. And so I was practicing, and I would color with my kids, of course, because kids like to color. So he plops down at the kitchen table one day with his markers, and he just goes at it with these crazy designs. And he goes, draw with me. So I said, okay. And I do my thing of looking around and finding something to draw, because I would always draw. And this is kind of important to add, that I would always draw what was outside of me, what I could see,
Okay.
fruit or flowers or birds or whatever.
Yep.
And I would often draw a pear, and I would say, because a pear is so easy for me to draw, there was no anxiety involved in that. I was a busy mother of 2 little kids, and I really approached the canvas with trepidation and a pencil so that I could erase what I perceived to be mistakes. And, I wanted to control the whole experience and make sure it would come out beautiful and be something I could show someone with pride. And I think later I discovered that, however you approach a blank canvas is pretty similar to the way you approach your life. So I was very controlling and self-critical and self-judgmental and things like that. And anyway, I got a pear, and he said, ugh, Mom, not another pear. And I said, well, okay, what should I draw? I know, 8-year-old, right out of the mouth of babes. And I said, well, what should I draw? And he lifts his head up and he goes, draw what's inside you. And I lit it. It was like one of those moments where the earth tilts funny. And I mean, there he was doing it, and I didn't have a clue. I mean, I've been a spiritual seeker all my life and subscribed to lots of the latest, greatest, whatever, new age woo-woo. And I was drawing all these things outside and thought I was building my skills and feeling pretty confident, and that blew me away. So it just sort of sat in the back of my mind for I don't know how long, many, many months. And really wondered, like, I have all these feelings in here, but I don't know what they look like. And what would okay, anyway, it was a big question. And so then fast forward a few months, my husband took the kids away for the weekend, and it was a holiday, and it was one of the first times I had any real time to myself after having kids. And I had big plans, I had this blog I was writing, and there was social media was new, and I was all by myself, and I had all these things I wanted to listen to and do, and out went the power like an hour later. And I was not, I just like to emphasize this too. I was not in a spiritual mood about that. I was not like, oh, well, I'll just, meditate and have this lovely, beautiful, silent weekend. No, I was like, shit. I want my power. I'm on the phone. So I get a pen and paper because I would take notes if I'm on the phone with somebody. I call the cable company and they're like, yeah, well, that's sorry. Be there in 3 days. And I just hung up the phone and I was pissed, and I started to doodle. I don't like that word anymore. I started to doodle, and then boom, that's where it happened. It was just it was a standstill moment in time, like an explosion of fireworks, like a cracking open of the cosmos. And I don't know how else to explain it. It might be like a near-death experience or something. But all of a sudden, it was just raining down on me, all this information or knowledge or wisdom or connection to, I don't know, God, whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
It was a life-changing, mind-blowing moment. So, and that was just drawing. So,
and so that sounds like one of the when you hear people saying my awakening, it was like a defining moment.
That was definitely a blow my mind awakening moment. I think I'd had all kinds of little ones all the way there.
Yeah.
Because I already looked at the world in a different way than most people.
And that's what I was thinking, because I we've talked about our various spiritual beliefs and things, and I don't think I have had a moment like that. I think mine have been lots of little things that have actually probably when I found Abraham, probably that was one of those moments, but I didn't understand it at all, and it then took a long time to understand what had happened in that moment.
Right. And I did start listening to Abraham years before that. When I think I was like 32 at the time.
Okay.
I'm still 32. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know if those moments are typical or not for everyone. I hope so, because it's pretty life-changing. Maybe maybe people don't need that kind of a bang in their life, but it was certainly life-changing. And
was it a good bang?
It was a great bang. And if you look at near-death stories, it was kind of like a near-death story without the death part or the sick part or all the resisting part first. And that's kind of what Abraham and other people insist that we can do, right? We can all have this breakthrough. And you don't need a big breakthrough like that, because what you said is true. Like, if you know, okay, so Esther's a great example. If you've followed her for 20 or 30 years, which I have off and on, she's grown into that channel that she's bringing through. Just because she was a capable human of opening to that and letting it come in doesn't mean that she, the human, could integrate everything she was bringing through all at once. And you've seen her grow, and she's changed quite a bit over the years, which people do in their lives anyway. So it's the same thing with whatever I'm able to channel with this artwork. I had to grow into it. And at first I thought, well, this is the Holy Grail. I'll never be sad again. I'll never be lonely. I'm so freaking high. Me and God were buddies. No.
How long did the initial high last?
Oh, a long time. But I did notice that, in my human way, I've put up a lot of resistance to it, I guess, to use Esther's language.
To anyone who doesn't know, we're talking about Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham. I think most people
everybody
do know, but there may be some that don't, just in case.
Right. So, I mean, the high, I still have the high, but I've grown into it. It's definitely integrated into my life, as a normal thing. Back then, I needed to draw to feel it, to really feel that again. Every time I would pick up a pen, I could access it, which is great, and I can still do that. Do I do that all the time? No. I live a life and I have challenges and things like everybody else. I just have this sort of buddy with me all the time. It's like that. It's like I always have this buddy right here.
So how long was it before that experience and making your first deck?
Oh gosh, 10 years.
Okay.
But I started, maybe you can see this is a big canvas that I did. This is of one of the cards, Stillness. Okay. It's a big canvas, like 2x3. In any case, initially I was making all these images, geometric, symmetrical, colorful patterns, because they spoke to me about the cosmos and about our own, each of us being a circle, a center, and having all this radiant ability, and how we overlap. And there's just bazillions of them. I kind of don't think of them as mandalas anymore. I feel like they're more like soul portraits. Like, think of all the souls that are out there.
Infinite.
Yeah. And without your body, this is kind of my world. Without bodies, we're just souls. And this is how I see it. It's just like, artist interpretation of whatever that realm is.
So go on.
Oh, sorry. Just to answer your question, I was doing all these big things. They were big 40 by 40 canvases, and it's expensive. And so I was trying to think. I started to get into tarot and stuff, and I was thinking, I'd love to make a card deck. I just don't really know what I want to do. And I was working on other projects that had nothing to do with art, and just living a life, raising my kids. And I had just left this one project that I was doing. I was literally sitting on the couch saying, well, I'm just not going to do anything for a while. see what happens. And out of the blue, I get this message from a friend of mine that I met on Facebook, who is a dream facilitator.
Okay.
He's really wonderful. And I had done some personal designs for him for his office. And he said, hey, I had this dream about you. And he told me that he had seen this deck and had I thought about doing it this way. And it was another one of those moments where it just totally clicked. I'm like, that's a genius. That's exactly the key I needed. And then I just birthed that deck in like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
It just popped out. It was cool. But you know, the human side of that is, if you're going to do a design for the feeling of joy, I at least got to feel the other side of that too. So it was like going through this 3-month up and down journey through every single one of those emotions or feelings or whatever you want to call them.
Wow.
You know, so the 44 cards, each one, they were so easy to make because in the beginning, I wanted to feel all those things. I wanted to, the first one I did was breathe, because I thought, well, that'd be a good thing to do first. And they would just come, and to me, breathe looks like lungs. And I don't know, they all just sort of designed themselves. It was really easy.
I was going to say, how's the process for each one? It's like
it's the same, because I just sort of silently tune into that feeling and do a drawing. And I stay with that all the way through the process of creating the digital design, which I think was one of the questions, right? How
yeah, Anne Marie asked about, have they hand drawn, are they digital? How do you do it?
Right. Well,
are you willing to share your process?
Oh, totally. In the beginning, way back, and when I was only doing drawings, some of them were really cool. They were like undersea worlds and pyramids and things in space. And I was like, wow, you know, this is mind blowing. I want to wear this on a t-shirt. So my husband's very tech. His whole life is tech expertise. So he says, well, here, you know, scan it and put it up in Photoshop, and you can adjust the image and put it on whatever you want. And I did, mugs and t-shirts and stuff. But when I put it in Photoshop, I didn't ever even hear of Photoshop, much less how you do it. And I don't know if you've ever opened Photoshop, but it just gives you a big black screen with a bunch of weird looking icons on the left column and some unintelligible words at the top.
Really confusing.
Yeah, I had no idea. He goes, well, just play with it. I'm like, okay. And I did, and mostly made a lot of mistakes, and nothing's a mistake. That's the one thing I learned from the drawings. Oh, also, I switched from pencil to pen when I started doing this, because there are no mistakes. Everything is, we could go really deep here, but anyway, I was drawing.
Let's go deep.
Okay. The idea that there are any mistakes is just so false. It's just so false. It's only our judgment that makes it a mistake. So you can, I think Esther used to say, you can't get it wrong, you'll never get it done. That's so true. And that's so freeing. And when I switched over from pencil to pen, which happened that day of the big breakthrough, I could see the merit in it as I was drawing. Like my mind would be saying, ew. And my soul was saying, keep going. And because my relationship with drawing turned from, in an instant, fear, control, judgment, to 100% trust relationship with what was coming out on the paper. God, I had never experienced that before. I didn't even know what that felt like. And it was so magical to have 100% trust in something that I couldn't see, couldn't identify, couldn't describe, couldn't tell anybody about. But it really showed me that, one, to get going, just make a mark and keep going, keep going. Same as life, take a step, keep going, keep going. So everything was profoundly mapping out, you know, connecting itself to life and spirit and physical together, and just like.
That's exactly the experience I have when I color your mandalas.
Well, lovely. I'm so glad.
And actually, those ones which are my drawn things.
Yeah.
Same thing. Whenever I go to color, I just color, and then I think, oh no, not that color, and it's almost like I get the set. I don't know if it's the same, but it's like keep going, just trust.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks like a really bizarre color to be putting on next, but I'll go with it.
Right.
And then it always comes out just right. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
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 And it's a really nice feeling. And I think the whole reason I've even been doing this all along is just to show me that's how life is. You know?
Trust.
Trust is a moving, thing. And it's like a marriage. Your relationship to your feelings are like a marriage. They have ups and downs, and sometimes it's working out really well and sometimes it isn't.
And sometimes there's acceptance and sometimes there's no acceptance.
That's right. I still experience all those things.
Sometimes there's acceptance and sometimes there's judgment.
Yes. But with the awareness, you can have the conversation at least. You can see what's going on. Right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be so lost in the dream of life that you can't, access your own best friend or perfect parent.
So I also want to talk about you've been so generous to be doing our portraits for us in the group for free, which has just been divine. And I wonder if I can turn this around and show you. Mine are on the window.
Hard to see, but I know what they look like. So
they're just bloody beautiful. Can you tell me about that? What inspired you to offer it? What is it like for you doing them for people in the group? Some of us some of us you don't know yet. What's coming through? How come there's been two? Tell me about tell me about all that stuff.
Wow.
Thank you, by the way, it's been fab. But
what?
I said thank you. It's been fab.
Oh, great. I love doing it, first of all. I think I just described how much I love seeing that connection between the physical and the spirit. So I of course, when you have a really magical experience, all you want to do is share it, right? So I love to take someone's drawing. It's amazing to me how resistant people are to trying it because there's no harm in it. It just feels good, So anyway, I just am trying to, I guess, share that feeling of seeing what comes out of your hand, which is also your physical body is drawing this. And if you go long enough, I guess there's two ways to look at this. So if you draw that way, it's the same as journaling. You're eventually going to bring through lines and shapes and feelings and swirls and whatever that means something to you. They're telling you something. It's talking to you. And for me, when I was doing those drawings, they were definitely speaking to me about so many things. And when I sort of stumbled on the symmetry, and that's exactly what happened in Photoshop, I just kept making mistakes essentially and landed on this what appeared to be some sort of perfection or reflection of what actually lives inside me, us, everyone, right? So that's the God part of me. And it came from something I had just thrown down on a piece of paper. And somehow that has a really magical feeling for me to be able to see those two things together. Like, wow, it's just, that's all me. It's so cool. I don't know if that gets across, but so offering to other people is really fun. I think this group is lovely. I love you, and I love the people that you're attracting to your group. And it's easy for me to throw that out to a group of, I don't know, what do you have, 55, 60 people in here now? No, okay, 50. Because I know that only a small percentage of you will actually do it. And I'm really grateful to those of you who did do it because I love doing it. So that's really it. I just love doing it. And
I'm going to make the post so that we can put our finished ones up. I know Diane shared hers partially done in the group, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. It was beautiful.
And what is it with the getting to? Because
beats me, but I just say, all right.
Okay, so it just comes to you make one, and then it's like there's another one. You just say.
I think what it is one of them is designed to uproot and sort of catalyze and sorry, my phone's ringing. Change, and then the other one is well, I guess you could say masculine and feminine, and one of them sort of breaks open, and the other one is like more soothing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and yes, that's totally how they felt to me.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to me to watch who colors what first. That's fun too.
In what as in which one or which part of the mandala or both?
Oh, both, everything. Like you said, I always start from the center.
Yeah,
It's great.
I always start from the center.
Yeah, and you don't have to, but that's really don't you find that interesting that you always start?
And I hadn't even thought of it because it would never in a million years occur to me to start anywhere else.
Well, to me, that would be
not
there's a lot of reasons
brain or anything.
Yeah, and it's knowing you, that makes so much sense. That you start from the heart and build outward.
Oh, that's nice. So you said, well, knowing you because you're so anal.
You would start around the edge and get it perfect. No. I think we're friends. No, I don't know why we're friends. I don't have an organized. Well, I think I'm a little organized, but not like you. Not like you.
Yeah, but I think that partly the reason I'm so organized is because I have to be, because without developing the organization that I have, I'm in chaos. And that's really
I guess I'm just more comfortable there than you are.
Yeah. I think that I think that's it for me. It was so uncomfortable to be not be able to see what I was doing or where I was going. It was unbearable. So I had to, it's almost been a coping strategy.
Right.
But
well, that's what this is for me.
What was that? Sorry?
I said that I think that's exactly what this is for me, and it was given to me because I would need it, and I do need it, and it helps me.
And so going back to the process, you get your drawing and you put it into Photoshop.
Right. So if I was to take your drawing or anyone else's, you send me a picture and I doctor that a bunch till I get it to be black and white and what I need and big enough. And then I stare at it and then I go have lunch. And then I can feel a click when I'm ready to go for it. And I come back and start taking it apart or doing what I do. And it's just like any other painting process. People ask me, well, how do you do that? What are you using Photoshop? I'm like, well, yes, but it's just things I've learned over the years. And believe me, I know barely anything about Photoshop. That's a robust piece of software. But I've learned things over the years, and I continue to learn new things that enable me to express what I'm feeling.
Okay.
So really the lines guide me. And in your case or anyone's case who, I think there were 6 of you that actually took advantage of it. And each one just sort of showed me what it wanted to be. And what I mean by that is I can feel which way to go. I can feel the next step. I can feel the layer, or I can feel the piece that wants to be prominent. And I mean, the weirdest thing is that so have you ever gone outside in the winter when there are no leaves on the trees and just look up and see all the branches crisscrossing, and if you walk, they move to another angle?
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is like. It's like that. There are a bazillion choices you could make. None of them are wrong, but some of them feel better than others, which then takes me back to that's life. And that's how it works.
And this is my planning process. I'm like, it's exactly the same thing. And what I do with my clients, it's like, here we are. We've got a billion things that we could do next. And all we're doing is feeling what feels good right now. And you'll be guided to what's the right thing. There is no right or wrong thing. There's a load of things you can do. You've learned a lot from lots of different people. What feels good to you?
Right.
Thing to do.
Right.
And we just organizing it in paper terms and keeping focusing on it for 3 months, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, that's genius, and that's exactly it, And I think that because I can do that with such, and this isn't meant to sound egotistic, but I can do it with real mastery now without a lot of thought with the art.
Yeah.
Do I do it with my daily life? I'm probably not as well. So
When it sounds like you don't want to or need to.
I don't know.
And I think that's the thing. It's like if your life's going fine in the direction that you want, then you don't need to do it any different, do you? It's like that's the fact. But most ladies who come to me are just so overwhelmed with life and business in general that it's like, it's just, and I can remember being like that till I had my system. It's just so much.
Yeah.
I just needed help to get it out of my head and onto paper. And I do it with a pen and paper.
So we're doing the same thing, only you're just helping other people. I don't know what I'm doing.
You absolutely are.
Well, you have to be able to pick up a lot of it on your own. So I'm not sitting around explaining it in detail to specific people the way that you do it with your clients. So I'm relying on people to, first of all, be aware enough to understand what it can offer, which might be too big an ask.
And with that, is there a reason why you choose not to explain it to people, and why you just let people get it if they get it, if not?
Well, I have done some of these interviews. Well, partly I think, well, I have over 50. I've been doing this since 2007. So I've gone through many incarnations, and many explanations and growth and changing my mind, and also getting new messages and hearing new explanations of what it is. But the original explanation that I got was that these messages, there are messages in the work, and people, some people can sense, the surface layers of it. Some people can sense a little more deeply, and most people will sense maybe 3/4 in. And so I don't know how to say that out loud. And also the other one is, it's having an effect whether people know it or not.
Yeah.
And some people get really upset by that and think, well, you're, what are you doing to me? Well, I'm not doing anything really, except it's a cracking open thing. It's just a little subtle cracking open. It because of the symmetry and the patterning in it and the layer effect and where it's coming from. This is what I get. Okay. So it's speaking on a cellular level, like telepathically to you and your soul and your God self in a very loving way. And some people, all of us humans, resist love, or we would be living in a much different world. And so it's just that sort of thing. And some people really respond well to it and some don't. I've had one woman way back who was just irate because she saw something in the image that scared her. And I'm like, well, sorry, I didn't even notice that. So it was kind of
interesting. And so do you know what's going on when someone sees one that they really don't like? Do you know what's going?
I haven't had that experience in so long. I don't know what was. I could tell when she came to me that she was already completely upset with life.
Okay.
How did I attract that? I don't know. But I ran away pretty quick. I pretty much.
In fact, you know what? I remember you did one for me in about 2013, and the reason
Wasn't it? Yeah.
It was in my notes. It was a black and white one from a thing, and I can remember back at the time I shared with you my writing, but I can remember saying, please don't share this because it felt too.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
Posing.
Yes, it's very personal.
It showed a lot to do with fertility, and I was right in the middle of my fertility journey. Let's put it like that at that point. Never sorted that one out, but I was right in the middle of it, and it was very raw and very, and I could see it. There was just fertility symbols all I could see was fertility symbols.
Wow.
And I didn't like it to start with. because it was quite confronting.
Right. And I think that's the thing of it. And I can be that way too. I've tamed that a lot. I
But
used
you
to
know,
be,
I grew to love it. Like the
oh,
same thing, as I spent time with it,
right.
I really grew to love it. And with
What
my
was it
one
you? Like,
thing I really liked and the other one I liked less, but as I spent time with it, I absolutely grew to love it. And it kind of feels like that's that thing what you're saying about, isn't it? It's almost just spending time with them allows us to love ourselves more.
right. And you know, some of them you can move on from too. I mean, that one that we did years and years ago probably may not be relevant
I'll
to
have to
you
dig it
anymore.
out. I must have it somewhere. That might be on an old computer.
Yeah, lost forever.
It'll be somewhere on a digital file.
Yeah. Yep. Out there.
I have like I've written written a couple of things that I don't want to forget for us to come back to. So the
Me too. I have one.
you so you once you make it on Photoshop.
Yeah.
Once you've done your magic with it, with the things that you've learned, and then is it basically you, if it's us, you send it out, or if you're making a canvas, you send it to be printed? Is that kind of the next step?
Well, once it's finished, yeah. I mean, in this group in particular, I've shared pretty high res images. I didn't used to do that, but now I just don't care. You can have it. Do with it what you like. You can do anything with that. It's a big image. You could put it on, you know, upload it to one of those tchotchke stores and put it on something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But if it was me and it was for a canvas or for a client, yeah, then I just turn it over to my husband, the canvas maker. Yeah.
Ah, he's a canvas maker. I didn't
We
realize.
also make the cards. So, I
Mm.
mean, literally without him, I would have no physical product except for what I could get on the web, online.
Okay.
He's great like that. I love him.
I love your husband. Me and Dana met with our husbands in New York just before the pandemic, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
We had such a lush day together, and I do love your husband.
it was fun. I love yours too. We gotta do that again. We gotta do that again.
We had a love fest, didn't we? And
We did.
a very nice Italian lunch in New York after a trip around the Museum of Modern Art.
Well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was lovely.
Lunch was better.
Isn't it amazing, the internet? I mean,
Yeah,
having met all those years ago to then actually meet in person and have such a lush day.
it is. I've met a lot of nice people that way. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to meeting more people from the group in real life.
Me too. I would love to do a few more of these. I'm leaving shortly for a few weeks, but then, you know, we'll see how things go when I get back. But I could do one or two more before I go.
Cool.
And yeah, so the only other thing I would say about the work was at the same time that it all cracked open, I started to be able to see these energy forms too. And they are somehow, it's almost like they are what I've been trying to capture with every single design I've ever done. Like that's what they look like. So
wow.
It's so strange because the first time it happened, I thought I was just crazy and going blind, but then it was another one of those hits of like, no, this is for you. This is what this is. And it showed me that nothing solid is solid. Everything's got this light foundation, and you know, it just cracked open so many perspectives for me at the time, and they do still come. I don't really know why or when they decide.
And how often, roughly, do they come?
Well, it depends. One year I had once a month. One year I didn't have any. So I think they come when they know I need them.
Have you had any recently?
Last one was January.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious about this. Like, are they near to you? Are they far? Are they like really in your vision? Are they in the edge of your vision? How long do they last?
They're on the edge of my vision. I've read stories from other people who've had these. One of them was, you know, Jane Roberts' husband.
Oh yeah, Seth.
Well, Seth was her channel, but her husband, Robert Butts,
okay,
had described these in his in a couple of his books too.
Oh.
And I was really happy to find that because, you know, you can start thinking you're nuts. They start on that, it's like a little cracking open of the universe. Like a little, it looks maybe like bubble stuff or a mirror. And it's sort of vibrating and pulsing.
I had a little bit of that when I first discovered Abraham, only for a few months, and it reminded me a little bit of LSD. And kind of the things would shimmer. And
it gets quite large. And it's sort of at a distance at first. It starts out like a spark, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and it's pulsing the whole time. And the edges are like kind of like broken glass or crystal, and they're rainbow colored. And then it gets big, 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 and then it comes over to me, and it's swirling around me for a while. It usually lasts 20 minutes or half an hour, and then it goes away. So, and then
oh my god, that sounds so cool.
Well, it's like an energy healing, you know. If you go to any kind of energy healer and you come out and you're like whomped, right? Because if they're good, you're whomped and you need some water. That's what it's like.
That's such a good word. That's not an English word. That's definitely an American word.
Whomped. Oh,
I love it.
Tired. You have to have a lie-in or a lie down or whatever.
Lie-in.
If you can be arsed. Yeah, right. I love that. Anyway, all these things happen at once. I love it, love it, love it. I think I got scared off initially to talk about it with people because I got the bug-eyed look and you're nuts and sure, Dana, and that's nice. You go have yourself a sandwich. People that didn't believe me, and that's still alive for me. That if and I'm saying it to you, I'm very comfortable with you. I'm comfortable. I know this group is private, and I know there's people in here who are also very highly tuned and having their own experiences and, you know, into self-exploration. And it's very safe for me to speak about it. I don't know why it scares me to speak about it, just generally. Sometimes I just do anyway, but I think the world is changing, thankfully. And a lot more people are having experiences like this and their own crazy fun experiences. And so it's becoming normalized, which is so nice, because if you recall 15 years ago when this happened to me and it was happening to some other people like Lee and others, you know, the world was not mainstream even 15 years ago. Now it's all over Hollywood and dimensions and everything everywhere all at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like what is, which is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I was saying about my experiences, and I feel like I didn't quite manage to allow it. It was like I could see it on the periphery, but that's as far as it got. So when you said, and then it gets bigger and it comes around you, I'm like, oh my god, that is so cool.
Well, then if you've already had it, you can have it again. Just ask for it or try to picture it. I can sometimes bring it to me if I do that. If I really ask in earnest and get myself into a relaxed enough state for it to catch me off guard. Sometimes it just happens because I've been outside staring at a tree for half an hour, and then I go to walk inside and I catch it. I catch a glimpse of it, and then you just have to be able to go with it. What am I going to say about that?
Bring it in more. I like that. You're reminding me of experiences I've had that I've forgotten I've had. And
wonderful.
And I'm going,
well, you too. I have a close friend who the first time, I mean, we'd known each other for so long, and she goes, oh no, I'm having one of those migraines. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, I just see this fuzziness in my periphery. I said, well, do you have a headache? She goes, no. I said, well, you don't have a migraine then. You're having a visitation from this elemental shamanic being that's part of your energy team that wants to work with you. And she was open to that and like, oh, that's so cool. But she had already told her husband, he was on his way over to wherever she was with the, the aspirin. And he thinks I'm nuts. So that I find that funny. But
coming back, doodling. I know that you don't like the word doodling. I like the word doodling. It's like that. It's like, this is the one thing we clash on, I think, Dana. I like the word doodling and you don't.
Well, I guess the reason I don't like doodling is because if you think about it, the perception of doodling is that it's, just something you just riff off and it's of no value and, it's less than art. And to me, it's the most powerful art there is. You can bring me a landscape from a master painter and I'll go ho hum. But if you bring me a line drawing from somebody who really tuned into their soul and got a bunch of scribbles and I can feel it, that will reach me. So to me, it's divine communication. I'm not budging on this. There.
I love that, and I love that, and I guess probably the reason why I don't mind the word doodling is because when I'm doodling, it's the divine communication, and because I kind of know that, then
Right.
I haven't got the negative connotation now.
Right.
But that might only be from knowing you for many years, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know, but the reason I like to stop there and explain is because that is a reaction from a lot of
majority of people. I probably imagine.
Oh, I'm not an artist. I'm just doodling. Okay, but guess what? If you keep doing it, you can really hear some things you might want to hear.
I remember saying that to you when we first met as well. I just doodle because I was doing doodle. Well, that's the thing. When we met, I was doing doodle mandalas. I had a notebook somewhere, and I was just, oh, mine are just doodles, and you were like, no, they're not just doodles.
Right. Oh, that reminds me. Somebody did ask, how do we do
these questions up?
How can I do this myself?
Yes, that was Vanessa. Vanessa asked, how can? Oh, hang on a minute. No, there was two. So Anne-Marie asked, how can we do it? And I think she was asking specifically about your mandalas like that. And Vanessa asked, and I don't appear to have it on here, which is a shame. Vanessa asked, how can we start drawing ourselves? Did I send you the one with Vanessa, what Vanessa said?
I think so. I mean, I got that idea that people would like to do this themselves, and I'm not really sure exactly which part of it they want to do. So I would just say that two really simple ways to tap into it are like open up your access to like creative communication. I don't know how many people here are artists already, so if I'm just giving you something too elemental, sorry, but I got I don't know what
you asked probably would not consider themselves artists yet.
Well, I don't either, to be honest. I don't think of myself as an artist. I think of myself as a communicator and a scribe and a expressive, expressing my soul's view. So you can do that if you just allow yourself to free draw. And I can't think of words to express that any more clearly. Sit down, be quiet, or listen to birds, or listen to music you like, not words, and not a news show, but something relaxing and soothing. Be by yourself and let your pen talk, not in words, because words are so limiting. They are. And if you allow yourself, and you can do anything. Some people just start with circle, 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 and suddenly your pen will take off in a new way. Or you can just purposefully draw shapes, triangles, squares, lines, make crosses. And you can even intentionally, go for something that looks pleasing to you. You can draw a flower, but your mind is probably going to be connecting with something that you know from your external world. And that's such an easier connection for people to make that it's harder to let go that way and let what wants to come through or what might come through or what might even trigger something in you. It doesn't have to show up in the drawing, but it might, just like journaling, it might trigger some epiphany or thought or new idea just because it frees up something in your soul and your body at the same time. And then beyond that, if you really like the symmetry and stuff, there's plenty of apps out there that will let you draw that way and it will do the mirroring for you. So that you can actually get yourself something that looks symmetrical from what you're doodling.
Okay.
See, I said doodling. And so there's that, but there's also, you can start with a circle on a piece of paper and start from the center and start making lines that mirror each other and shapes that mirror each other and get a full-on sort of hand-drawn experience with geometry. And there's so much information out there about sacred geometry, which is a school of study, and you know that sacred geometry is the foundation of all things, all our universes and the cosmos and our own bodies and all form, which I happen to agree with. And it will, it sort of taps you into that. It might make you crave a little more knowledge about it, or and if you ever, and if anybody has Photoshop and they want to learn some of my tricks, yeah, feel free to ask.
Oh, that's so generous of you. You're such a generous soul, Dana.
Oh, so are you, Heather. Aren't we all here in this sweet little group of yours?
It is a lovely little group, isn't it?
Yes. I hope that people will watch this, and I hope they'll come out of the cracks and start talking to us.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, and it's just nice to get to know people.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what other Katie asked, how's the new deck coming along?
Oh, yes. Wonderfully. Thank you. It's 15 cards so far. And you know, this deck, every single image that I've ever done is like a bottling of whatever I've been through emotionally. Right? So I just went through, as you know, my mother's death and a horrible experience with that. And I had a little skin cancer on my face and some surgeries. So there's a lot of emotion there, a lot of sort of grief and letting go, which is also prevalent around the globe at the moment, the theme of grief and control. So I think for this deck, I wanted to come at it from not such big, powerful in your face feelings like, you know, joy and power and happy and euphoric. I wanted to be like soothe and calm and like wonder and, you know, things like that. And so they're just coming out in the way that they're coming out now, with those as the basic building blocks.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Well, okay. Well, I'll show you as soon as I can.
I'm looking forward to seeing them. So Katie says something about your journey, how you came to, yep, we've covered that. Do you have a particular ritual or follow a process when you begin a new design? You kind of said that.
I definitely don't approach a design that I'm doing for a deck or a client or a personal portrait unless I'm in a good space. Because okay, so that sometimes means days of buildup. And it'll sit inside my system and then give me a nod when it's ready to come, like I said before. But I will definitely make sure I'm alone and comfortable and tapped in, which is kind of easy to do once I'm at that ready stage. So I don't have to sit and meditate for a half hour first. That's a waste of my creative space. I just feel it and I go for it. Okay.
Brilliant.
Because the whole process is meditative, you know, so.
I love it. I've deleted the second half of the questions. Have you got the questions there or not? Otherwise, I can go back into the group.
I swear, I think we covered them. I do have them somewhere.
I know Claire Kerslake asked some questions, and I
said, how did you get started? We covered that. For the portraits, how do you tap into the energy of the drawing the person sends? Do you feel like I answered that?
Yeah, I think you have. It's not like you do a specific, I'm going to meditate on it. It's just, it comes, you feel it, when it's ready, and then you do it. It's like, it's a feeling thing, isn't it? That's what I'm getting from you. It is
a feeling thing, but now that it's been put to me in that question form, I do think when I'm doing something personal for someone else, especially with someone else's initial drawing, I do get together with my guides and ask, you know, to bring through what is best for this person.
Oh, beautiful.
So that it will be a part of guiding my steps.
Beautiful.
You know?
Yeah. And when you say your guides, do you have, can you tell me about your guides?
I hate that
more
phrase.
than what you already have.
That phrase has thrown me my whole life until I settled into it for myself. So what does it mean? It's not, it tends to create an image in your head of like some guides, some guys and dolls hanging out, you know, like, hey, but I think I just have this perception of a sort of family of beings that hang out with me and help me. That what?
They've got your back.
They've got my back, like everyone.
Yeah.
I just talk to them all the time. And I do a lot of drawings of beings that I believe are my guides. They just power through. I can't like not draw them, and then I have to draw them a million times. And it's very comforting. It's really comforting. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'd love to see them one day.
Yeah, I keep those pretty sealed. But you know, they're in a lot of the work. You can see the heads of some of them.
Ah, I think I know who you're talking about.
You probably do. I think I must have shown you one. The one that I started with was like it looked kind of like a bird, but not really a bird that you would know, but some creature that can fly.
Okay. Yeah.
And there are many of them. And, you know, I went through a period where it was so dark, I lost track of them. And it was awful. But they're back. So.
Oh, I'm so pleased they're back. Okay, what was Claire? Have you got Claire's other question there?
That was it. That was the how do you tap in, and then Vanessa's how can we start our own?
And you've done that.
And that was it. We did it.
I think we've covered everything. How are you doing? Is there anything else you'd like to share? We've been going just over an hour, so.
Oh well, just draw. Be nice to yourself. We're going through big changes on the earth, and they're going to be challenging us for a while yet. So, you know, come out, talk in the group, ask questions, play, have fun. It's all fun. That's the whole point. Yeah.
And I just want to thank you so much for being such a big part of the group, and for being in there so much, and for just being so fantastic and being so generous in sharing the personal portraits, and for having made the cards in the first place, which we use every week, and for letting us use them every week, and for letting me use them with my clients, because we all adore them and you. And thank you for being the first member to come and do one of these.
Well, thank you for asking. And it was fun. I always love talking to you, and it was helpful to somebody, anybody. Yeah.
I'm just going to show them off some more. And can you share where people can find you and find your cards in case anyone wants to stalk you a little bit more?
My website is called NineTomatoes, just like it sounds. Does it sound like 9 tomatoes?
NineTomatoes.
NineTomatoes.com. You can search that Googly, or you can go directly to the website, or to get the app. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, go to your app store and search for 9Tomatoes, or you can get the links off my website. And there are 18 cards in each app that you download the app. You get the full functionality of the app and 18 cards for free. I do recommend getting the whole deck, though. It's so much more fun.
Get the whole deck. Get the whole
deck.
And there's two sets. There's Unlimited Freedom, and there is Peace and Harmony. Yeah. And they're just delicious. So do that. Okay, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for all your participation in the group, and for your generosity, and for being you.
Oh, and to you, my dear. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.